The latest ratings report from Week 3 of the new Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league is in, and it's nothing short of a collapse for Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed face of women's basketball and apparently the biggest draw in that league. Yes, the same Angel Reese who insists she's on the same level as Caitlin Clark, claiming she's revolutionizing the sport and pulling in fans left and right. Well, the numbers are here to burst that bubble, and let's just say she's crashing out. I want you to keep in mind something. In comparison to the debut week, Angel Reese's debut game with the Rose BC Basketball Club has lost over half of its viewership. Angel Reese's team, the Rose Basketball Club, went head-to-head with the Laces Basketball Club, and considering all the buzz around her dramatic ejection earlier in the game, you'd think this would have been a ratings bonanza. I mean, ejections usually come with the whole package: viral clips, heated Twitter debates, and endless memes. It's the kind of drama that should have people glued to their screens, right? Wrong. Despite all that supposed star power, the game barely managed to scrape together 140,000 viewers. That's right, only a mere 140,000 people tuned in, which, for someone who claims to be carrying the league on her shoulders, is pretty embarrassing. Now, to really drive the point home, let's compare that to another game from the same week. The same team she faced, the Laces, faced off against the Owls, and guess what? That game pulled in almost 200,000 viewers. No ejections, no sideline drama, no over-the-top antics. Just good, old-fashioned basketball. That's almost 50% more people who chose to watch a game with nothing but layups, jump shots, and solid defense. No theatrics, no attitude, and certainly no Angel Reese, just basketball. Imagine that. A basketball audience actually showing up for basketball. So what does this tell us? Maybe, just maybe, the drama isn't the ratings magnet some people thought it would be. For, wild as it sounds, people are tuning in because they actually care about the game itself, not the off-court theatrics. If that's the case, Angel Reese and her squad might need to rethink their whole strategy, because if the drama isn't bringing in viewers and the basketball isn't either, what's left? Mascot dance-offs? Half-court trick shots during timeouts? Free tacos for every viewer? Someone better get the marketing team on the phone, because this ship is sinking fast. Why no one is supporting their secondary dump? They wonder why no one is watching pretend basketball. Maybe if they focused on the actual basketball instead of focusing on their weird utopian fantasies, maybe their dump would be upgraded to a polished turn. Angel, are we still sticking to the story that you're the reason the league is thriving? Because from where we're sitting, the numbers are painting a very different picture. And here's the thing about numbers. They don't lie. They might hurt your feelings, but they don't lie. Unlike follower counts that get rounded up for clout, these stats are cold, hard facts. So, after all the drama, all the post-game interviews dripping with attitude, all the "I'm changing the game" speeches, you're telling me you still can't get people to watch? We already know what her fans are going to say. Angel is a star, just as influential as Caitlin Clark. Really? Are we seriously going with that? Because last time I checked, being influential usually comes with people actually watching you play. But let's not kid ourselves. If we're talking about impact, one name is clearly outshining the other, and that name is Caitlin Clark. Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing. And let's not forget, Angel Reese was the one boldly claiming, "It's not just Caitlin changing the WNBA, it's me too." Well, logically speaking, ma'am, your viewership numbers seem to disagree. Because the last time we checked, when Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, ratings shoot up faster than gas prices in July. But when Angel Reese steps onto the court, let's just say those numbers are dipping lower than clearance racks at a discount store. Decent, but hardly the kind of thing people are fighting over. And don't get me wrong, we love confident athletes talking their talk. But if you're going to strut around like you're shifting the culture, the least you could do is bring some numbers to back it up. Otherwise, we might need to put some of these "I'm changing the game" claims on layaway until further notice. At the end of the day, I respect Angel's hustle. Because let's face it, it takes serious dedication to stay relevant even when you've got nothing to offer but sound bites. Sure, she's got the gift of gab, But let's not pretend the league is booming because of her, when the numbers are clearly screaming a different story. Caitlin Clark isn't just boosting ratings. She's out here shattering records. We're talking record-breaking viewership, sold-out arenas, and merchandise flying off shelves like she's the second coming of basketball royalty. Let's be honest. If Caitlin Clark were playing in Unrivaled, do you really think she'd be pulling in such low number of viewers? Come on now. That's like suggesting Steph Curry in his prime would struggle to sell out an NBA arena. It's laughable. Clark has been a walking ratings machine everywhere she goes. The moment she steps on a court, TV executives start rubbing their hands together like cartoon villains plotting their next big payday. If she were in this league, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Instead of debating disappointing viewership numbers, we'd be talking about how Unrivaled is dominating the sports landscape, with networks in bidding wars over broadcast rights and kids everywhere rocking Caitlin Clark jerseys like it's 1996, and Michael Jordan just clinched another title. But that's not the reality, not even close. Instead of Unrivaled becoming the next big thing, we're witnessing its viewership take a nosedive. It's not growing, it's crashing. Let's address the elephant in the room. Unrivaled started off strong, debuting with an impressive 300,000 viewers. That's a solid start, a promising sign for the future of women's basketball. But fast forward just 3 weeks, and that number has been slashed in half. Yes, half. As in if Unrivaled viewership were a paycheck, players would be making some very awkward phone calls to their landlords. So how did we get here? How does a league that was supposed to revolutionize women's basketball suddenly find itself losing viewers faster than people bail on a bad Netflix show? What happened to all that hype, the changing the game speeches, and the bold claims of being the face of the league? Turns out, hype can only carry you so far. Eventually, people want substance. And if you're not delivering on the court, no amount of off-court antics can save you from the harsh reality of dwindling ratings. And it's hilarious because it's my understanding now, she keeps telling us, Angel Reese keeps telling us, that it's not just Caitlin Clark, that she's part of this brigade of women's basketball players that are leading all these new viewers into the WNBA. And I think it's these ratings right here that prove the biggest point. This is more statistical data that proves nobody's tuning in to see Angel Reese. Let's be honest. Star power matters. And right now, Unrivaled is missing the biggest star in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player on the roster. She's an event, a phenomenon. The kind of athlete who makes people who couldn't care less about basketball suddenly have strong opinions about shooting mechanics. Without her, Unrivaled feels, well, unraveled. That's not just a clever wordplay, it's the reality. Because when Clark's on the court, it's not just about games, it's about record-breaking, history-making moments. We're talking viewership numbers so big, even your grandma knows who Caitlin Clark is. But without her, those ratings have been pulling the ultimate disappearing act, vanishing faster than Angel Reese's credibility after another on-court meltdown. Unrivaled's downward spiral isn't just a minor dip in viewership, it's a full-blown crisis. It's like a giant neon sign flashing, "Fix this now," and nobody seems to know how. Whether that means locking in more star players, rethinking the marketing strategy, or maybe even offering Caitlin Clark a lifetime supply of endorsement deals and unlimited Gatorade just to grace the league with her presence. Something has to give. Because if Unrivaled really wants to be the future of women's basketball, it needs to ensure there's an audience to witness that future. Right now, the future isn't looking nearly as bright as they hoped. Each week, the viewership numbers are nosediving. If this trend keeps up, they'll be lucky to scrape together 50,000 viewers by next month. Think about that. A league marketed as the next big thing for women's basketball is pulling numbers that wouldn't even impress a local high school championship. And you know what's wild? The league was supposed to be a showcase of star power, a revolutionary platform to elevate the game. But when your biggest storyline isn't dazzling plays or buzzer beaters, but instead revolves around Angel Reese finding new ways to embarrass herself on the court, you've got a problem. Angel Reese may be playing in a league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I. Speaking of embarrassing moments, let's talk about Angel's grand exit. Oh yes, not just any exit, a record-breaking one. In just 3 weeks, she managed to become the first player in Unrivaled history to get ejected. Not the first to drop a triple-double, not the first to hit a game-winning shot, the first to get booted like an unwanted guest at a party that's way above her pay grade. Now, don't get me wrong, some ejections are game changers. You take Caitlin Clark off the court, and her team suddenly looks lost, like they're trying to solve a math problem without a calculator. Her absence leaves a hole so big it could swallow the entire defense. But Angel, her ejection had the opposite effect. The moment she got kicked out, her team started playing like they'd just been liberated. It's like her absence was the best strategic move of the game. They didn't miss her, they flourished. They played better, sharper, and oh yeah, they actually won. How do you get ejected from a game, and instead of your team spiraling, they suddenly look like championship contenders? That's gotta sting. And let's be real, Angel wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard before her dramatic exit. We're talking about someone averaging what? Maybe 7 points a game, 8 rebounds on a good day. That's not superstar material, that's role player on a Tuesday numbers. You want to be mentioned in the same breath as Caitlin Clark? You might want to start by putting up stats that don't make people reach for their phones to check what's trending on Twitter. At this point, Angel's biggest claim to fame isn't her scoring ability, her defense, or even her rebounding. It's getting ejected faster than a bad Tinder date. How do you make headlines for getting thrown out of a game before you've even made headlines for actually winning one? But hey, credit where it's due. She's still making history. I mean, being the first to do something is technically impressive, right? Even if that something is setting the record for the fastest ejection in league history. You know what they say, if you can't be the best, at least be the most memorable. And in Angel's case, mission accomplished. The funniest part about these ratings that they've put out, I mean, God, TNT Sports must be dizzy with the level of spin they're trying to give this thing. And Front Office Sports tried to spin it too. Now, the ratings are bad, alright? The ratings are bad. Meanwhile, while all this chaos unfolds, Caitlin Clark is out here living like the main character in a sports movie that's guaranteed to end in victory. Her college jersey just got retired. Arenas are selling out like it's an NBA Finals matchup between Steph Curry and LeBron James, and the Indiana Fever is making moves like they're assembling the Avengers. Clark? She's probably kicking back, enjoying some well-deserved rest before casually taking over the WNBA like it's her birthright. And Angel Reese, still grinding it out in Unrivaled, playing in front of crowds shrinking faster than a cheap t-shirt in the dryer. Every week fewer people show up, and yet we're supposed to believe this league is revolutionary. Revolutionary how? By making professional basketball feel like a mid-level rec tournament. The reality is simple. One of these women is the face of the WNBA, while the other is struggling to remind people that Unrivaled even exists. So, how much longer can Angel Reese keep pretending she's on the same level as Caitlin Clark? Because the numbers don't lie, the impact doesn't lie, and when you strip away all the talk, all the drama, and all the antics, the only thing left is what actually matters.